All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We got another client case study today. We have a client that has been working with us for about a year and some change, like barely over a year now. She's doing great, and she just wants to keep on going with the coaching. So she's been in the program. It's amazing. She's awesome. She's an incredible client. So I'll go over who it is at the very end. But the client, she is a female, and honestly, some of you might know her. She's very active in our community. So she's a female. She's about 43 years old. She's on GLP-1, so we'll talk more in depth about this once we go throughout this because she has the intent to get off. That is, whenever I have someone that wants to work with me on a GLP-1, that is the one like constituent that I have them go through or tell me that, hey, I'm on this thing because I want to use it as a tool and get off of it. So that's the one thing that we have to agree on before we actually start working together. Consistently works out, and I'll move this. So what really triggered her response to be like, hey, I want to actually go into coaching. She saw weight loss in one of my challenges, my 21-day challenges, and she's like, hey, it wasn't really weight loss. It was more about she saw the pant size drop and she saw barely any weight loss, but she's like, what the heck is going on? I'm getting slimmer in my hips and my waist, but the scale is not really moving. What is going on? Something's working. Something I need to learn. So then after that, she was like, let's go into coaching, and the rest is history. We'll go over the rest actually right now. So looking at the initial start, she was eating around 1,200 calories. Her step count was about 2,000 to 3,000 consistently. She was going to the gym 3 to 4 times a week. She did come into the program with an injury. So this is something that we'll talk about too. Then previous knowledge, she had tracked food in the past before. So this wasn't really that big of a barrier to entry when she was first getting into this. And so she was kind of cognizant. I spelled previous wrong right there, but that's okay. Life happens. So our first actions, what I did as a coach, we increased her overall calories. And so this is where the GLP-1 will come into play too. So we looked at her protein first and we increased that first. Then we wanted to increase our steps gradually, and we'll be going over how gradual here soon. She worked around the injury when we were in the gym. So she came to me one time. She's like, I can't really do lower body. I'm like, well, the other leg works just fine. We can do a lot of singular leg. She gave me like one of those looks. Her little mannerisms. I know. I'm just picturing how she came to me at that one time. But yeah, so we worked around the injury and we strengthened that it was an ankle injury. So we were strengthening that ankle as well. Consistently tracked for awareness. And so we started getting more into tracking everything just so that we actually saw where the intake was at. And she truly was eating around 1,200. Some days that her injection where she would be as low as like 900 calories on that day. And then added some de-stress activities to and we do this to this day. Why? Because she has a higher up role. She's been in her position for a little bit, and we'll talk about that here as well. But she is someone that is go, 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 and she really needs some of these de-stressors. That's a really big thing within seeing any sort of change or progress would be saying, getting that de-stressor effect going. So that's some activities that we added. So what does this all look like? Increased calories about 5% each week with a focus of protein first. So we went from 1,200 calories to about 2,200 calories as a daily baseline. That is now her baseline. That is not including some days that she does more activity. She's at 2,400 to 2,500 calories. We have been all the way up to 2,700 calories before and burning the same amount. Excuse me. And then our steps. This is what our steps look like as a general way that we went about this. So we went from 2,000 to 4,000, 4,000 to 5,000, 5,000, 6,000, 8,000 to 9,000. So each one came with its own little bump in the road, but I do it from 2,000 to 4,000. That was pretty simple. 4,000 to 5,000 was a new little threshold. So 5,000 consistently, we stayed at there for a little bit. And then 5,000 to 6,000, that was pretty easy. 6,000 to 8,000. 8,000 was like a sweet spot for a little bit. And then we went up to 9,000. And then, okay, so steps are the thing that get coached most for her. She is incredible when I have challenges going of getting 10,000 plus steps. So but besides that, she'll be around 9,000 to 10,000 throughout the weeks. Yes, recently it has fallen down. This 5,000 is around her average baseline, and this is like I said, it's one of the most coached things that we probably go over. And so that is a little bit of the bigger rocks. So the steps and the protein and the calories, those are the bigger rocks. Now let's get into a little bit of the nitty gritty of what's gone on within this past year. So looking at this, her InBody. InBodies are great. It's a great tool. Now InBodies, if you've ever used one, then they're not always going to be the most precise. Sometimes they can be very off, but if you have a good one that is reliable, then they can be really good for points of information. So these are some of our results. They are a little blurred out because I just want to share the information that is needed for this. But the InBody, if you're going to do an InBody and you want actual good data, create, and this is exactly what we did, create the same circumstances within your own body for that day. So if you're going to go in, I tell my clients to go in within 2 hours of waking, go dehydrated, go when you've gone to the bathroom, poop and pee, don't eat anything before, and then you can recreate those circumstances every single time. And if you go off of that, or if you do a little bit, even if you work out before, your results that day could be very much skewed. But overall, we just got data points, and there's truth over time with these data points if this is being reliable. So overall, we've seen changes, so we definitely know that this is reliable. With that being said, she started at 186 pounds. Now she's at 178 pounds. Body fat percentage went from 39 to 32. And with that being said, weight, that's only 8 pounds down over a whole year. What is that? What do you mean by that? This is exactly what the program is all around. Okay, so listen up. Body fat percentage, that went down 7%. Okay, 186. So this is the breakdown. I don't want to get too fast into this just yet. 186 pounds at her body fat percentage. That was 73 pounds of fat mass. Okay, 178 at she decreased her body fat percentage, and that now she sits at 55 pounds of fat. Okay, so that's 18 pounds of fat lost. So why are we looking at the scale and it's not telling us, hey, we're actually 18 pounds down? Well, this is where the higher grounds method comes into play. 18 pounds down, she gained muscle. That's exactly what we want. Yes, she only sees 6 pounds lost, or 8 pounds lost. She gained 10 pounds of muscle in less than a year. That is incredible. Ask anyone in a professional sport of bodybuilding. 10 pounds in less than a year is insane. Do the clap thing on here. There we go. Clap it up. Clap it up. That is incredible. Now, big thing about this is because those results are awesome, right? Things weren't perfect, and you're gonna see how imperfect things were. Okay, start off rehabbing from an injury, lower limb. Yes, you're not going to be able to be as mobile. You can't do as many things with a lower limb injury, but we worked around it, and we said, hey, life is going to happen, and we're going to progress from it. Job position switch. Within this time, she did have to move positions in her job. I won't go into full detail, but that caused about 2 to 3 months of stress. She is on a GLP-1. Within the program, I had her eat more. What does the GLP-1 do? It has you eat less. Okay, so she had to fight the no craving. She had to continuously remind herself to eat. And when she's eating, she's not even hungry, but she's doing the right things. Okay, with this GLP-1, it actually works in the opposite for us. It's doing the wrong thing. Yes, there are people that lose weight super quickly on these GLP-1s, but you know what? They're losing muscle mass too. She built muscle mass. Okay, with a loss of muscle mass, now that opens up more outcome to injury. Okay, yeah, that we've been seeing multiple cases come up with osteopenia, osteoporosis, frail bones, brittle bones. When you build muscle, it does the opposite. You get stronger and your bone density gets deeper or thicker. Or get denser. So the GLP-1 it is an inhibitor for us. It's not something that we actually really need. All right. But all of these aside, these aren't even the biggest things that happen within the short amount of time that we've worked together. The biggest thing that happened, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And if you read that, she beat breast cancer all in this time. Okay. But this was one of the biggest. Cancer is cancer. When you get diagnosed with this, everything is going through your mind, right? And I saw that. I understood that. I even told her, hey, I'm like, if we want to back off of this coaching, because this is just going to be another stressor to you, let's do that. I want you to focus on this. And she came to me and she's like, no, we're keeping this going because it's no longer, she understood. She came into the program with a little bit of this mindset, but it has definitely grown ever since. She's like, no, life is going to keep happening. I'm going to stay consistent with what we're doing. Yes, we then forecasted there were going to be tough days. There were tough days. There were tough weeks. There were tough months, especially when we got into radiation and now we're in remission. There were times that she couldn't eat at all in the day. There were times that she didn't have energy to do anything, but she understood. Her mindset had switched. Her mindset had gone from that this always needs, that this goal has to happen and it's going to have a perfect laid out plan. And now it's like, no, we're just going to be going on the process because life is going to happen no matter what. It's not always going to be perfect. So diagnosed and beat breast cancer. I did one of my challenges because of her. Gosh, I'm going to get teary-eyed just talking about this. So reframing is the name of the game with a lot of the coaching and the coaching calls. Reframing how we approach. So setbacks. She no longer looks at setbacks as setbacks. We call them just life. Life obstacles are going to always happen. And she understands that, oh, that's just life now. That's just how life is going to go. We'll see how I adapt to it. That's how we go about it. The perfect plan, the blueprint that we have, the idea of where we want to go, that doesn't exist. The perfect plan can be laid out. It's hard for me to lay out plans for clients and tell them, hey, we're going to see this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, because at the end of the day, life is going to happen. You saw that. You saw how many things happened with her, how many things came at life that she had no plans for at all. The perfect plan doesn't exist. So we reframe it to it's sustainable. It's sustainable for any circumstance that comes at us, because even if it has to be knocked down for a little bit, it's going to be picked back up eventually because it's sustainable for the lifestyle that we are developing. Okay. And then timelines. What is that blueprint that you have laid out that you want to see X? You want to see this at this time. You want to see this in so many months. You want to see this. This is what the reframe around people that do sign on with us for 6 to 12 months. It's like, yes, we have a goal. We have a great goal that we want to get to. And it would be awesome to see it happen and come to fruition on that timeline. Well, hey, that could actually happen earlier, or that could be something that we have to plan for way later. So timelines, yeah, it's awesome. We could all set out a timeline for where we want to be. However, when your timeline doesn't go and align, when the timeline of the actual thing doesn't align with your own timeline, that's when we get frustrated. That's when stress, anxiety, and things happen. So instead of thinking about a timeline, we think about the process. It's the process of the individual that you are becoming because you have this goal. It's not that yes, goals are amazing. They're incredible to have, but getting to that goal, that's just the icing on top of the cake. That's the cherry on top of the cake, whatever you want to say. Getting to that goal, the process behind it, it's about that, because the process is now the lifestyle that you are living and that she is living, and she was able to adapt this process it's adapting to her life. It is her life. She is loved to become into the process because she loves the person that she is in this process. So it's more so not about the goal that you have and accomplishing it. It's about who you're becoming because of this process. So reflecting back on that is the biggest part of this. Yes, I do have them journal too. So I have journal clients. So in conclusion, yeah, I want this to be an inspiration that you can do this too. You can do this at any time. Don't wait for your perfect time. You saw all the obstacles that came up despite her not having the perfect time. She didn't have the perfect time to start. She had an injury. And one of the things that is very true, if it won't ever start tomorrow, now is all you have. Now, yes, there are things in life that you can wait until later, that will happen later. Like if I'm going to invest, I'm not going to have my total investment 30 years right in tomorrow. But for our health, you can simply easily go from 2,000 to 3,000 steps today. You can simply do a few air squats right now. So don't ever wait for that tomorrow setting. Now is all you have. So if you want to know who this is, I told you that I'd say it, but I'm not actually. Just ask me. I'll reply. And they know who they are. Actually, a lot of people probably have figured out who this is by now if you're in the Higher Grounds community. But if you like this, go ahead. This was a lot of fun to kind of break down because this client has been an amazing client. This client has been an amazing client. I love getting on check-in calls with her. And I love the process in which she has developed her lifestyle. All right. I'll see you guys later for another case study.